Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Illustrator. I am Tor and today we are playing around with creating a half orc and I'm using the Jazz book as reference. So I answered a whole bunch of the questions from inside Jazz's book, which helps you create, the behind the scenes of your character, which I'll read just a couple of you. So loves, what brings them the most joy, and an idea from the hates, what triggers their anger quickly, and the book gives you a really good run through. I'm not going to show you it all so I don't spoil any surprises for you, but this is for my D&D character half orc that I'm struggling to get into because I haven't really done enough character development. So my initial idea was close but looked, too young, and then the second idea on the other page here was close but really I wanted to refine it a whole lot more. It looked very much like my model that I use for playing, and I just draw stuff that happens so I have a visual indication of what we've already done. So I did a whole bunch of research on half orcs and orc monks and some Dragon Ball Z characters because they have some awesome power poses, and to be honest I think my character's going to look quite a bit like Piccolo by accident, So really, to get my creative juices flowing initially, I grabbed my favourite blue kind of erasable pencil and just went for it. Just started having a little go at recreating some of the poses incredibly quickly. I know this is sped up, but they were meant to be incredibly quick sketches. No real definitions, no real well, you can see here that my proportions were completely off, but that's fine. Like I was saying, it was just to warm up and have a go, really, to get myself feeling like, I don't know, relaxed. Things don't happen when you're tense, you see. You see. Creativity gets stumped. So I started making little notes of things that I was really liking. Like I was liking the ear, kind of like elf, but not as pointy. But I also didn't really want them to be pointy, sticky outy, like a fawn or a deer or a cow. I didn't want the whole floppy out ear thing, So once I got to the point where I was feeling like I was loose enough to take the ideas and the character concept, all the questions that we'd done previously from, all the character concept way back at the beginning, we now have to start implementing those in the way your features are. So if you come from the mountains, you're probably going to be a little bit more weather hardened. If you're a farmer, you're going to have calluses. If you're a warrior, you might have scuffs. You might not have these things depending on what sort of stage or creation you are at. After all, you are the artist, you can decide. So I was advised, and it was, I think, mentioned in Jazz's book, to start with just the head. So take your basic cranium, your circle, draw a line straight down the middle for the nose, that's your center line, and then one straight across the middle of the circle, and that's your eyebrow or top of eye line, depending on what style you're going for. From there, from the bottom of the circle, you can drop down and form your chin, depending on your face shape. There are loads of face shapes. If you get stuck with your face shapes, I would recommend just, going to your local newsagents or picking up a magazine with hairstyles. Yes, that would be actually really good. Hairstyle book, because then you have loads of different people with different poses and stuff for referencing, Okay, so I've been rambling about face shapes. So what I've been doing is doing some rough concepts, putting in some features that I liked. And out of the two on the previous page, I liked the idea of half shaved and half sort of flopped over mullet kind of style. I did originally think that I would quite like to go for a mohawk, but it was kind of overkill. And what you can see me doing right now is I am having some major issues matching eyes from left to right. So page right eye goes down fine, but then page left, or if you were actually the character, your right eye, I cannot get them to match when I'm working like that. I don't know what it is, because usually I don't do the whole skeletal work for a head. I usually just go straight in, draw eyes first, and then eyebrows, nose, mouth, and then face shape. I do it completely backwards. That's just my normal go-to, so I'm trying to stick to I'm going to say rules in inverted commas and do the whole face shape thing first. I mean, this is probably much more recommendable to other people, and it's probably a good base to start on. And I was starting to find that I was going for the same sort of face shape, and I think that was based back because of the questions that I was answering. So really basic history of my half orc is she had to escape a very bad situation as a youngster and was told to run, so she ran and ended up being accepted into a monastery where she trained as a monk. And yeah, as you could tell, I've been having some problems with my eyes. Not problems, bad problems, problems choosing the right eye shape for my character. So I feel like she would have been wind beaten, sundown, running through the forests, but also observant. So I didn't want to make her look too hardened, I didn't want to make her look too naive. And my dog's joining in as well. So what I'd realised is there are definitely key features that I definitely want to use for my half-orc, who I've called Terega. I wanted definitely some kind of button but slightly flatter nose. Definitely some kind of quirky mouth. She's not going to be a big smiler because she's a bit, I don't know, curious. I'm going to put her as curious, a little bit hesitant to the world. And I feel like the monastery that she would have been accepted in would have some kind of thing where every lesson that the student learns is a different kind of tattoo. The more tattoos you have, the more of a teacher, the more of a leader figure you are. So I feel like one of her first lessons would be the tattoo you see on her face, where it leads from her chin up the center of her mouth, over her nose, up the middle of her nose, and into some kind of design on the top. I think I could really do with some kind of extra research into maybe runes, and maybe try some of those ideas out. I might probably will also try things like the split eye, where they kind of have, you know how goat and sheep have a very thin eye slit, a bit more like a dragon perhaps. Something like that. But definitely the cheekbones I want to keep. I want to keep the square-ish chin. Jaw I'm open to being kind of tailored, definitely for sure. And I finished with some other little sketches of different character poses that she might like to take. But off screen I am going to work on a whole bunch of other head designs, just so that the next time I come back for more character development I'll have a better direction for us to travel in together. So thanks very much for hanging around with me while I've been learning how to do this, and if you have any suggestions, I'll leave them in the section below. That would be fabulous. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Like if you liked and sub if you haven't. Just keep doodling. Bye!